Hey there, it's Vicki Howell here to show you how to do the shell bridges stitch that is featured in the very first Block Builders Club crochet square. All right, so this is a really great stitch for really anything, for necklaces, or scarves or pillows or cowls, blankets. It's just a collection of shells along with chains. It's subtle, it's textural, and we just really dig it. So all it takes is really just a 2-row repeat after you do the setup row. So we're going to start there. So following the pattern that you received in your digital download, you're going to create a chain, and then you'll be doing the setup for the rest of the piece. So to do that, you need to single crochet in the second chain from hook. So you don't ever count the chain the loop that's on the hook already. So here's 1, here's 2. To single crochet, we're inserting our hook, yarning over, pulling through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. All right, then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to skip 1. So if you get a little confused about where that is, if you give a little tug on the stitch that you just made, you can see what loop it's in. See how that one's moving? So we know that's not it. So we're going to skip this next one and work into the next one. So from there, we are going to single crochet, and then we're going to start our repeat, which is chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet. So you just repeat what we just did all the way until you get to the point the pattern calls for. For our square, it's 8 times, but if you're changing it to make something or design something yourself, you would just go until you get to the last few stitches, and you will chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, 1 more single crochet. So you're going to get to the last 4 stitches, and then you'll do that. Okay, so that is it. That's the only time that you're ever going to have to do that. After this, you'll just be doing rows 1 and 2. So for row 1, you're going to chain 3, and this is going to count as a double crochet. And I should mention that I'm working in American terms here, so they will need to be translated if you are working under or crocheting under UK terms. Okay, so now we are going to do 2 double crochets in the first chain 1 space. So that's this little guy right here. So we yarn over, insert hook, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops twice. So that's 1. We're going to repeat that for the second one in that exact same space. Okay, so from here, we are going to start what would be your repeat that you'll do all the way across to the end, just like when we started. So we are going to single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So that's right here. So that anchors our shells. All right, so we just single crocheted in the chain 1 space, and then we're going to move over to our chain 2 space. Here we're going to put 5 double crochets. So what we did over here, but 5 times. So the same stitch. And if you need a slower demonstration of double crochet, I have a Get Schooled crochet playlist free on YouTube at the @Vicki Hall YouTube channel. So that's 4, and that's 5. So that is your repeat all the way across. You're doing a single crochet in the chain 1 space and 5 double crochets in the chain 2 space. So you're going to go until you get to your last stitches again, and then you're going to end off by doing 2 double crochets in that last chain space, chain 1 space, and then you'll do the 3rd double crochet at the top of that last stitch. so that it bookends. So just for reference, here's a smaller piece, or rather a smaller piece than our square, but you can see that the repeat are those 5 double crochets and then the 1 single crochet, and that's all that's happening. All right, but now what you'll notice is that you have this scalloped edge, which is really pretty, and you could use that as a design detail, but we're making a square, so we need to flatten it out. And that's what row 2 does. Okay, now we are ready for our row 2. Turning our piece, chain 1. That does not count as a stitch, so we're going to single crochet in the exact same stitch that we just worked that chain. Then we want to chain 1. We want to skip over this double crochet and we want to single crochet in the second one. So it's the second stitch of that 2 DC cluster that we created on the row below. All right, from here, this is where the repeat starts. So we want to chain 1. We want to skip over to the first double crochet of our 5 DC cluster, and we want to single crochet there as well. All right, from here, we want to chain 2, and we're going to skip over all of these stitches and single crochet in the last one. So this is where the bridge part comes in. The cluster below is the shell, and this is the bridge. All right, so now that is the repeat. So you're going to anchor in the first DC, make your chains, and anchor in the last DC. And then you are going to continue that all the way across. We don't have any more repeats. So for us, we're going to go to our end and we will chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the first DC of our cluster, chain 1, skip 1, and then single crochet on the top of that turning chain. And that is it. Those are the repeats. So you just work those 2 rows, row 1 and 2, until you get to the size piece that the pattern calls for. I just want to show you again on this larger piece what it looks like on a bigger scale. You can see here, so row 2 has just been worked, so you can see the bridges and you can see the shells right below. Just repeated creates these really lovely columns. It has a little bit of body to it, but it's not too puffy, and it's just really nice and warm and pretty. All right, that's all there is to it. Enjoy.